Welcome to Shooting the Bull, the official podcast of the Championship Darts Circuit. A casual conversation about the sport of darts, talking about topics of the day from a North American perspective, featuring a cast of characters and contributors from the CDC roster and the world of darts. Now here's your host, Anthony Eugenia.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the latest edition of Shooting the Bull. It's still Dartsmas, so happy Dartsmas to everybody. Let's take a look this evening at what has happened in rounds 1 and 2, the rounds of 128 and 64. So many games to look back on. We probably, won't even be able to touch on all of the sort of, twists and turns that have gone on. And then we'll take a look at the next 2 rounds coming this week, rounds 3 and 4, which will be the round of 64. And no, I take that back, round of 32 and the round of 16. All right. So just bear with me for a second. I want to make sure that we are up and running. I don't see it on Facebook yet. I do see us on YouTube. So I want to welcome everybody in. Oh, there we go. There's the live notification on YouTube. On Facebook. So I want to get those up so I can monitor the chats. Welcome everybody in. Want you to be active tonight. This will be a very interactive show tonight. We want to hear what you think about the World Championships. Okay. Overall, you can find CDC and Shooting the Bull info on our social media platforms on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can search at Champ Darts, and that's how you can find us. Same thing on YouTube. So we'd ask for you to subscribe and follow those pages. All right. Our website is www.champdarts.com. All right, so you can get info on the upcoming season. And we won't talk too much about that, but I will tease that, we've got schedule announcements coming up real soon. We've got everything ironed out, and we'll get that out, okay? So let's just jump right into the World Championships, all right? My first thing that I want to pose is sort of a fun question. I love this tournament so much, and I love that they have it sort of set up perfectly in my mind, that there's 3 phases to this event. Now with the full 128, it gives you a really solid first piece. So over 9 days, you've got, I think, 16 sessions, and it's the 128 and 64s, and then you get the Christmas break, which we're just coming out of. And then you've got a 4-day window where you've got the 32s and the 16s being played, and that's a 4-day event. And then you go into New Year's Eve, and there's a break for everybody to celebrate that, and then they come back, and it's January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals, right? So to me, it's almost 3 distinct phases of the tournament. Phase 1 is this massive event with so many new faces and names and old faces as well, but a really varied cornucopia of different dart players from around the world. The international qualifiers get their spotlight, and it's it's something new every day. Those sessions are just chock full of all of that stuff, new games and new things, and we're going to talk about some of those, some of the biggest upsets we've ever seen, and some of the flat out just some of the most compelling darts we've ever seen. Then you get into that second phase, and there's a lot in a consolidated amount of time. You got 2 big rounds over just 4 days, and this is where you get a lot of your big seeds still carrying on, and a lot of compelling, big names start to clash with each other. And then phase 3 is sort of your elite phase, right? Your obviously your championship phase, this is the bells and whistles, the champagne part of the tournament. So, well, my question to the chat is, and anybody who watches this later, let us know down in the comments how you feel. What would be the most exciting part of this tournament to see if you only had to choose one of those 3 phases? Let's say you were gifted and granted by the PDC an opportunity, or anybody. I don't want to put the PDC on the hook, but the chance to get full pair of tickets in one of those phases. Which one would you choose? So the 3 options would be, let's say, since it's a bigger round, 5 days of double sessions in the first phase, which would be the 128 and 64 phase. All right. Or you can go to the 4 days of the tournament that's between the 32s and the 16s, or the 3 days, the elite days, the cream of the crop at the end? Which would you choose out of those three? So I'll tell you what my choice is. I'm always completely enamored with the middle choice, which is what we're going into now. That 32 into 16 phase. That, yes, of course, in that round one, certainly from us from North America, you get to see players that we're proud of and we're friends with to play in that first round. And we certainly hope that they continue in the tournament. But, there's a multitude of them in that first phase. Then that last phase, again, it's the elite thing. Who doesn't want to see a world champion be crowned, right? But it's only a few games. It's what we got 4 in the quarters. You've got 7 games. They're going to be elite games. They're going to be long. But I'm enamored with this middle group in the round of 32 and the round of 16, right? In 4 days, double sessions each day, you get those 2 rounds. And, if things go right, you get all of the big seeds playing in the course of, you get to see them not once, but twice. They play tomorrow on Saturday. You'll see them back on Monday. And then you get these big matchups. So for me, that's the phase that I would choose. So let us know where you would go if you were granted the ability to get a free package and go view that. Okay. So I'm not going to do this alone. We today I was asking around the group who would like to come on, and our own David Garfinkel is gracious to join us this evening. So before I bring him on, let you know David is part of the CDC team during the season. He does a lot of work during the tournaments, some officiating, refereeing, things like that. During our special events, he's the man who is highly involved in the great music that we have to bring the players on in the venue and all that kind of stuff. So David is a big part of the CDC staff as well, but he's also an entrepreneur. He's the head muckety muck over at DJD, and they do many things, but one of the things that they do is apparel. So they represent a good amount of folks that now obviously play here in North America, but now some players over in Europe. So he just spent some time over at the Worlds to support his players. So let us bring in the man, Mr. Garfinkel. There he is. Hello, sir.
Hey, Ant. How are you today?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on. So let's start with that. Let's start with the, for you, not only just as a dart fan, we'll get to that facet of it. Give us the experience of, going over and, quite honestly, you have a vested interest in going over, not only to support players that you already, that are your, clients and business associates, but they're also your friends now, to go support them, and also to help your business, right? To give you some exposure. So, what's it like to go and be involved with players on the stage?
Absolutely. It's unbelievable. I mean, this year was my 3rd year going over. This year was a little bit of an extended trip because I also went over for Lakeside and kind of just stayed through the entire thing. So spent a month over in England. But kind of 3 years ago when I made the trip first, I went as a fan. It wasn't a business trip. It was a personal trip. I went to go support Stowe, who was a friend who is also one of DJD's players, as well as Jules. But it was mostly just to go and see the Worlds and support the two of them and kind of enjoy the mecca of darts that is the PDC World Darts Championships. And then last year, kind of things started to turn a little bit. And again, I went out to support the players that we had there, Stowe again, as well as Jim Long. And that year we did Rashid Sweeney's shirt as well. So that brought us from 2 shirts on the stage to 3, which was the most that we ever had at that point. But also just being in the back and in the players' room, all of a sudden conversations start striking up with other people and with Steve Brown and with a whole bunch of other business guys out there. And all of a sudden it kind of took that turn from personal to there's a little bit of business going on here.
Sure.
And then this year now was by far, I mean, our growth has been unbelievable. And I'm so thankful for all the players that we have and all the support that we get. We had five players representing us this year at Worlds. 3 of which were from Europe, not North Americans. And it was just kind of a full-fledged business trip this year where, I still got to go and support my friends and support our players. But there was a lot of conversations to be had and a lot of very positives from a business aspect. Granted, when you love what you do for a job, you never really work a day.
Sure.
So as much as it's business, it's still so much fun and so exciting to be in that venue, to be surrounded by those people, to be surrounded by all of those fans that are there. So I consider myself very, very blessed to.
Yeah, I don't know that. Go ahead, finish that thought.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think folks understand how much business is also going on at that event. That it's it's nearly a convention of the who's who in the dart world, especially during that first phase. Is that there's in my mind there's 2 parts of it. There's business meetings going on, but and then there's almost the amount of work that it takes to put on those events. We talked about it behind the scenes from a CDC staff standpoint. Like they had one day where there was no morning session. It's like, not only was it a schedule thing, but the staff works so desperately hard there at the PDC Worlds. There's people that work every single session over the course of 9 days. And that's a whole lot. So there's a whole lot buzzing going on behind the scenes at the Worlds, especially during that first week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that entire staff is working 15-hour days without a single day off.
Yeah.
So I commend them because it's tough. They get maybe an hour, 2-hour break between sessions, depending on how the session runs. There were some sessions that they got a half hour to quickly grab food and scarf it down, and doors were already opening for the night session.
Yeah, I had the pleasure going a couple of years ago, and I'm going to be always fascinated with the sort of nooks and crannies of behind the scenes stuff, right? Trying to watch as much darts, but then just utterly fascinated by how the production team will do this and that, that this will work and that'll work. And so I spent a good amount of time in the media room just because it was very interesting to me. And yeah, every time, when players would play, they're off, and while the next match is going on, they're being interviewed. And so, yeah, you get a lot of that media team, and certainly, Dave Allen being the head of the PDC media, in that, that afternoon session goes late, and then they've got media commitments and interviews. And he's not only bringing them to the pool of people to be interviewed, he's bringing them down for, depending upon what their nationality might be, to Dutch TV or Dutch TV, Dutch radio. The German broadcasters are there, and Sport Radio has things on radio that they want to interview, and the podcast, the different PDC podcasts are always grabbing people. So yeah, you're right. Like the session is finished in the afternoon, but then the team works for another hour, an hour and a half, and has about an hour and a half to grab a quick lunch, and it's like boom. Players are in for the evening. They're warming up, and it's time to go again. It's crazy. What an amazing, spectacular circus that is.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Lim was still in media when Vessel Nyman's match already concluded. That Vessel had to sit outside of media waiting for them to be done with Paul.
Paulie to finish holding court, which was just beautiful. Yeah, our own, speaking of business, our own Peter Cetera, the CEO of the Championship Darts Corporation, was over there as he is every year, doing exactly that. He's there's meetings in the morning, meetings in the afternoon, meetings in the evening. Hopefully to secure. I said I wasn't going to touch too much on CDC stuff, but there's a direct correlation, folks. To if you haven't looked at it, go back on the PDC site and the CDC site. A wonderful announcement on the 24th that the PDC has extended and locked in its commitment to the affiliate tours, CDC, CDLC here in this hemisphere, Asia and the Baltics and Africa, for 3 years. Massive turn of events, and great show of support for what everyone's doing. And those are the things that you don't get accomplished unless you get over there and you have meetings with people. So So now let's just take a turn to, what you've seen and what we all watched from a fan perspective. We'll move us over, and I'll jump over to Wikipedia, bring this up, and let me see if I can get into the bracket over here. I mean, the more I thought about, as I was doing a little prep this afternoon, I realized, my goodness, 96 matches took place.
Yep.
In 9 days. That's madness. And it's like, I'm trying to, from memory, remember what the major upsets are and what the great stories are. And it's just, so as I scroll through here, you can throw some stuff at me if you want. What are they, what are the, 2 or 3 things that were memorable to you as a fan? Cause you were over there for quite a few days.
Yeah, I mean, so for the most part, the matches that I was out there and watched were ones that either involved my guys or people that I currently have a personal friendship with. I mean, that being said, so Mervyn King, his match with Ian White, it might not have been the highest quality of match, but for it to go 2-0 and then come down to a deciding set, the fight back, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of that match was just an exciting one to watch. I mean, round 1, I'm trying to think.
Let's stay in here. I've got section 1 up. So let's take we'll take a glance at what seeds were knocked out in each section, right? And then what kind of games we can recall, right? So if we start at the top, of course, Littler's still alive, and we'll get to who he's playing down there. 17, is still alive. So you got Dobie. Dobie got knocked out from an amazing performance from Andrew Gilding.
Yeah, I mean, Gilding right now is UK Open champion Andrew Gilding. That is his form right now at Worlds. With his 3-inch lift shoes on. But he's deadly. And obviously first round played Cam, who has become a very close friend. And it was just one of those, you don't know what you're going to get out of Gilding. You're either going to get an 80 or 100. And unfortunately, it was the 100 average Andrew Gilding, which he's continuing to show.
So now the last 2 games, both seeds were dispatched. First, the 24th seed, Ryan Joyce, lost to Ratajski 3-1. And then this is probably the biggest seismic event in this section of the draw. Wesley Plazier knocked out Gerwin Price. Not in a tight affair. 3-0, right?
Yep.
And coming off Price's performance in round 1, where he averaged, a little over 96, defeating Adam Gaulis 3-0. I'm going to have to, I meant to post about this, but I will be accountable right here, right now. I was a guest with Online Darts for the day that they review some games. I forget which day it was. But we were always the day Gilding played Dobie, but then the next day you make some predictions. Man, oh man, I hope nobody put a penny on what I predicted. The only one I got right was Littler, and who couldn't have got that one right? I thought Price was going to continue. I mean, he didn't play terrible. It's 96 average. But I thought it was going to be a locomotive, and I thought we were going to see two steam trains, collide in Littler and Price just, Plazier just performed just out of his socks and knocked out the Iceman.
Yeah, and I mean, Gerwin was the 4th favorite for this tournament to win it all.
Yes, without a doubt. And he's been playing well. Absolutely.
Oh, playing phenomenally. But Wesley has shown over the years, whether it be in the WDF stuff or the PDC stuff, the talent that he has and the ability that he has. So, I mean, he played to that level, and the Worlds, that stage brings out the best of people. It is, they hit that board practicing for the month leading up to it as hard as they practice for anything else that they do. So you get a lot of their best games.
Absolutely. I'm glancing through round 1, just notable things. One thing I see now, of course, it's more of reputation now, right? That it's a shock that he gets knocked out. But we could hear the cheers from Ohio as Gordon Dixon was on his couch screaming as Stefan Belmont swept aside Raymond Van Barneveld. But it's still, I don't want to say a complete shock, but it's still unnerving to see a player as legendary as RVB go out 3-0 in the first round to a qualifier.
Of course.
So you have to make note of that.
Yeah, but I mean, Stefan Belmont is another former tour card holder. Played great on the Challenge Tour all year this year. I believe that's how he got in. And Barney just hasn't been in form. There's just that, I don't want to say that drive missing from him, but it almost appears like it's that drive that is just missing from him.
I was just looking for Belmont up here to see how Belmont got it. Yep.
I'm almost positive it's Challenge
It
Tour.
says international qualifiers.
Yeah, he was first on the Challenge Tour Order of Merit this year.
Okay. So we'll get back down the bracket.
So he also has his tour card again.
Yep.
So we will see him back on the tour next year as well.
Yeah, those are things that you just sort of, like I said, it's more of a reputation thing. So let's head down into the second group.
We can't go out of this first group without touching on what was probably the most controversial match of the entire second round, the Joe Cullen Mensur Suljovic.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, yeah. All right. So what happened was Cullen felt that, Mensur not just played slow as is his way, but intentionally, installed some what they call gamesmanship, intentionally slowing the match up to throw Joe off his pace. And,
so I was
players walk off stage and grumble. You've seen players, sit in post interviews say, I don't think that was all that, nice. But Joe Cullen went straight to social media and flat out called Mensur a cheater, and that was pretty big. Those are big accusations.
So I sat up there this was one of the matches that I actually did sit up there and watch. It wasn't great. Obviously Joe Cullen came out cruising in the first set. Mensur missed a bunch of doubles, didn't get a single leg. Finally, I think it was the fifth leg. So the second leg of the second set, Mensur hits a double, and he slowly walked halfway down the stage to the friends and family area to celebrate with them for that one leg.
Yeah.
And then it just became a routine thing on every leg that when the official has to warn you about it, that's not something that they normally do, because it's just such it's written in rule as gamesmanship, but it's a judgment call. There's no borderline to it. Will there be down the line? Maybe.
Yeah.
But to call it cheating, it technically didn't break any rules. So you kind of just have to learn,
I mean,
learn to deal with it.
Out loud, I don't know how you counter that. It's and it's I think of North American sports. In baseball, that that player would have got he'd get a ball in his backside in the next game. In hockey, there'd be somebody on the third line who'd find him before the second period ended and settle it on the ice. How do you make somebody pay for gamesmanship in darts? You can't, you can't really, speed things up. You can play quick and sort of try and get somebody to follow you, which would be out of their pace, but, you can throw them quick and go back and stand there and, burn holes in the back of the guy's head. But if he's determined to play at his pace, he's going to play at his pace, So as you said, it's a real fine line judgment call between, the the official on the stage, the officials, which we'll probably touch on. Let's touch on later on another topic of the maybe when we Ricky Evans, the unintentionally thrown dart, and people are like, well, how could the official see that? Well, there's an officiating team that sits in the background, and one person is assigned to be an alternate official, and they actually watch different camera angles. So what did you say? Did you not know that?
No, I do. I have fun tidbits about that too, though.
Well,
that we could touch on.
So do I, but I'm not disclosing them. What kind of snack? Put it this way: I know what kind of snacks they like out in the truck. But so I can see the alternate referee. That's another place where you can see them throughout the stage, like you said. If a player is are they walking with purpose, or are they sauntering around, and if they're sauntering around, that you could certainly deem that. But again, what's written in the rule book? I obviously know a good amount of rules, but when a referee finds that somebody's sort of doing that, what's the recompense? We've never seen anybody sort of lose 3 darts, or I guess an official, if there was some sort of bad behavior, could forfeit a leg, but I wouldn't deem slow play as to forfeit a leg. So it would be interesting as to what, what real world recompense you can really come up with outside of a post fine, and if a player's behavior stays in that way over and over again, with fines or sanctions, they would change their behavior. That's the best I can get to.
And I mean, darts is one of those weird things where the fast player always has to succumb to the slow player's pace. You never hear a slow player complaining about a fast player's pace.
Well, they don't complain, but what can happen is if you don't like playing fast, but you're playing against a fast player, you can allow yourself to be drawn into that rat-a-tat pace, right? Because you're trying to be measured and move towards the Aki, and the guy's gone already, right? So you feel rushed up there. So that's on you to sort of slow yourself down. But I agree that you don't hear a complaint, because I don't think it's as disruptive,
Correct.
Because
I feel
as
like
a former player, it is very difficult to when you. I probably played at a medium range. I could feel myself if I was going too fast. Like I said, if I was playing against somebody who was getting me breathless that we were moving so fast, I'd be like, all right, I'm rushing it. But I also liked to, as soon as that third dart was in from the next player, I'm at the Aki behind them. So yeah, if I'm behind a player who's taking his time, it's difficult for me to stay in that process, to stay in that flow. So it is way more disruptive one way than it is the other way.
Yep.
Couple of things in the chat. We want to say hi to everybody. Just circling back, James in the chat will comments that he doesn't believe that Belmont has had a tour card before, but he obviously is going to get one now. So that's, we can research that. I just want to keep everybody involved. We want to say hi to KJ McGlynn from the KJ Today Show, our showrunner. She's in both chats, of course. L. David I. Reed making an appearance. He's got the link. He could jump in if he wants. He's just going to listen. He's got a few comments there. We do for those who do not know, he's explaining what an IFB is, and he's saying that the ref should have an IFB, but David, the scoring official, does. So that is, and we've talked about that to really pull back the curtain. We've talked about trying to implement that on our stage. Now, David, the scoring official at the board does, right? So the alternate referee and or the stage manager, I'm sure, can get word right there to the referee's position. But I would imagine the referee, it would be quite difficult to have an earpiece in and also conduct the score and maybe, hear the players talk to you, but they're so close, that scorekeeper and the referee, that it does feel almost instantaneous. Like, I would imagine the process would go like this, that, we'll talk about that Ricky Evans dart then while we're staying here. Ricky hits a 5. He's got a dart and he wants to bust. We can talk about the legality of that exact thing. Right now, we're talking about the process, and the dart goes in, and immediately, I think it was you that was up there. You is like, he calls, I think it was 15, right? Is it, a 10 and a single 5. So instead of busting on the 20, Ricky scores 15 with 5 remaining, implying that the third dart doesn't count. But it was so instantaneous that I can understand why people think that you might have made that call. And I'm not saying he may not sometimes, but when you do a screenshot, he's looking at the board. So in my mind, it plays out that, the alternate referee has the full, shot of the Aki and has communications on him. So as soon as that dart kind of leaves in a way that official's right away going, no dart, or third dart, no good, something to that effect. So then,
so
go ahead.
I could tell you, I'm probably 95% that Hugh actually made that call himself.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because if you remember in Stowe's match, Hugh ref Stowe's match also, and still got called for a no dart for crossing the line.
Yes.
And a couple days later, I was talking with Hugh and just shooting the breeze. And he even mentioned to me, he's like, I felt so bad. He's like, I see Stowe and Crystal before the match, and they're, we're chatting it up, and I love them, and we're having great conversation. And then here we are in Stowe's match, and I'm calling a no dart on him when he's trying to bust. And I turned to him and I was like, out of curiosity on that, I was like, do you make that call, or is that coming from second ref? And he turned to me, he said, Dave, I stand in a way so far back so that out of my left eye, I have my left eye on the shooter.
All right, fair enough.
I can see his throw. I can see his feet. He goes, I know if they're going the top of the board or the bottom of the board because I can see their eyes and where they're going. So I have my eyes on both places at all times.
Well, that's why he's one of the 4 elite referees on the planet. So if you is tackling both of that, then kudos, brother. So there is a backup to it, and that's how it could possibly go. So they have a second set of eyes, but the guys that are up there on the PDC stage are the best in the world for a reason. So
what they do is unbelievable. Everything that they're calculating is just, my brain would hit overdrive trying to do everything that they're doing in microseconds.
Absolutely. So we covered in a way both of those. We covered Evans, and it got called on Stowe, and we will, I'll leave it for another show because it there could be some fun to be had to actually go through whether that should have been called or not. We're 38 minutes in and we haven't left the first section. And I thought the review was going to be the quick part.
So on to section 2.
So on to session 2 as we approach midnight. So let's quickly go through here. First thing to see what kind of seeds have been knocked out. Dirk van Dijvenbode dropped to James Hurl at the round of 64, 3-2. He was the 29th seed. He's out, and I've got predictions. We had Jules and Sean on the last episode. Jules picked van Dijvenbode to be in the semis, so that is a blow. That's a blow to his. Let's see, the 13 and the 20 are still in. Johnny Clayton, the 5 seed, is in, but Michael Smith falls to a very crisp Niels Zonneveld 3-1. And then it's funny. Here we go back, just like section 1. The last group has both seeds out, which is another just amazing thing about this tournament is the opportunities. So your 12 seed Ross Smith is out, and the 21 seed Dave Chisnell is out. Smith lost to Andreas Harrison in that first round 3-2 in a really great contest. And look at that.
Didn't do much wrong.
And welcome in David Irene. So we'll get hello, David. Can you hear us? And can you speak?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is
You're
it
on,
working?
brother.
How
So,
about that?
yep. So you jump into anything that you've seen, and then we'll take a quick look, from what's going on. This is that second group. So you've got, bunting in there, but mainly what we're at first looking for is like seeds. So the biggest, area, it was the Ross Smith Chisnell. They're out on the bottom, right? Like I said, coincidentally, the same as that first group. So a lot of upheaval down the bottom. Let's see. Obviously, things of note. You've had Nitin Kumar win 3-2 over Veenstra. What a match. Ali, one of those great Ali Pally matches, right? Just get behind them. Lots of fun. And my apologies. We're not really going to touch on a lot of North Americans. We'll do that at another time. We'll break down everything that happened. Ryan Searle played great. And I bring him up because a lot of folks have had their eye on him. The unfortunate, Dom Taylor incident. If you don't know what happened, looked it up. DRA disqualification. So he forfeited his second round, and Fallon Sherrick, of course, is always going to be somebody to note, and she fell to Chisnell in round 1. So what else do you see out of there, boys? What should we keep marching on?
You have to excuse me. I want to come in on the technical stuff, so it was.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. While
okay.
we sort of. So that's kind of 2 sections down. We'll see if David has anything. Give me a technical thing, brother.
No. I honestly didn't want to really jump in on you. I just wanted to make sure that everything is going well with you, because I've been outside dealing with some mud. It's been raining here in California for the last 4 or 5 days, so it's been great. And I've been outside dealing with it in my weather gear. So there you go.
David takes a break from the monsoon to come sit in on Shooting Bull.
I just wanted to let you know also, Anthony, that it's a great idea, man. Just jump in. You're doing a great job putting things out there and getting everybody involved, on a national basis around here. Letting people know that we're all involved with what's happening out there, and it makes a difference. So I just want to give you a kudos.
Thank you, brother.
That's all. I usually don't jump in on your stuff. I'd rather be in your ear in an IFB. And say, hey, listen. I want to say, I want to let people out there know that Anthony has a great way of just talking, and we love that. You just got to know when to cut in, okay? Because he will go on and is brilliant at it. But I just want everybody to know that's what I would be saying in his ear. All right, because he's so good. He has so much to say. It's all good. But
move on. Move to the next segment. Move on. We're going to keep this tight. But sometimes we're keeping it tight and sometimes we're not. That's why
I know. I'm talking about little things like, David sitting there and he's going, and you just said everything. And he wanted to say something, but you covered it all. And he goes, yep. So for you, Dave, you got to jump back in and say, hey, this is what I meant when you said that, because I didn't want to get in here and try to produce your show on the air live, but sometimes I can't jump in and I don't want to. So I'm busy. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I just love it. I love the energy that you bring. So everybody else, you gotta meet Anthony's energy too. You meet Anthony's energy. These type of live performances are going to be just fantastic, out there in the world. Everybody's going to want to get in and make it happen. And people will start talking about it, and people will start getting other people to play darts and all the other stuff that we talked about to promote the darts. There you go.
We do this. We love the game. So David Garfinkel, go ahead. The stage is yours.
Yeah. No, it's all good. This section was a weird one because you had obviously Bunting, his first round match, going to overtime. 3-2. It was one of the first matches that went to a fourth leg needed in order to win it. 4-2 in that deciding set over Bielecki. Bielecki played phenomenal as well. And you had 2 Ali Pally Colt phenoms hit the world in Kumar and also Sake with his wonderful dancing and his win over Tribo T. Colt. So this was a fun little section.
Yeah, those are the things that we get to see from that international round, right? You don't get to, if the PDC doesn't extend this tournament like that and give people worldwide opportunities, you don't get to see moments like that.
Correct.
And they're great. They're fantastic. It does get the rest of the earth jumping on this. It's really, I think people all over the world can relate to other people that are not anywhere near them, and they may know somebody. So little situations that happen like that live, and we see it, are nothing but good for the game.
Now in the third group, which a lot of people thought was one of the gnarliest in the tournament, looks like there's a bunch of seeds out. 31, Nyman. 18, Decker. James Wade knocked out by Ricky Evans.
Amazing.
Cameron Menzies, and that's a whole conversation, right?
Yep.
That's
Dimitri, the 23 is out. So, yep. So again, another bracket where actually, let's look. We got 3 out of 8 players are seeds in there. So, David, give me something on this group. I mean, there's a lot of stories in this.
Ton of stories. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, Paul Lim's return to the Alexandra Palace against Jeffrey DeGraff, and my goodness, was that place electric. That was one of the loudest I've heard the Palace for any match. I mean, they, from first start to last start, chanting Paul Lim's name, cheering on Paul Lim. It was just exciting and energetic.
He's neat.
A couple North Americans in this section, which was great to watch. And when I say a couple, I mean 4 out of the 5, 4 out of the 6 were all in this little section. Another Ali Pali phenom in Manyua from Kenya, who stole everyone's hearts on his defeat of Mike Decker in that hard-fought battle, which was unbelievable to watch and see and feel that energy. It was just, I mean, this was built up to be an amazing group, and it lived up to it, even with all of the upsets.
It was great seeing the Anthony, you put out a post showing that afternoon of darts, when it was the day before the last day, I forget. There was Lim.
It was the scheduled day was Lim.
It's historic. Yeah,
Gates and Savata.
Yeah,
in that same session, it was a must watch for North America.
Yeah. And you put
feel
chills
like
in a lot of people's
match
back.
of that one was also a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, John
it opened up, right? Yeah, it was at.
Oh no,
was at Van
that
Veen?
wasn't Gates. It was
I mean, I've got it. Yeah, I got it on my phone because exactly, I screenshot it because it was so. I mean, it was.
Oh, you're talking about round 2, correct?
Yeah,
the second in the afternoon.
It was Van Veen Suter, which we know, like this. A lot of us know Suits. And then Aspinall against Gates, Humphreys against Lim, Mamby against Savata. So that was, that was truly served up on a platter for North American fans.
If you think about it, we got one guy to get there when we started this whole thing. When we did anyway, just to get one of us over there. It was an amazing thing. Now we sit there, we have a whole half a session. So anyway. I got chills when that came out.
A whole half a session in the second round.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's just fantastic stuff there. Cool. We need more of that, as you know that.
And have to say kudos to Gates. This is now 3 straight times that Gates has made it out of the first round and won his first match there.
Yeah.
I mean, batting 50% at Ali Pali really isn't that bad.
It's
no, it's not. No, it's not.
And plus, put on a great performance. That's also something.
100%.
He's become what a lot of players here need to be doing, getting their act together. I mean, their act, as in, how am I going to stand out on that day? How am I going to make those the sizzle reels, the little the outgoing pieces, to show that it's not just a bunch of other people around America.
I could tell you, if cameras were allowed back in the players' room, the video of Gates going for his bull up would have gone viral. Because the second they came to him and told him he was going to bull, for some reason he had a Chewbacca mask with him.
Oh, jeez.
And he threw on this Chewbacca mask and walked through the players' room to the back and snuck up on Nathan Aspinall wearing it for the bull shot.
Yeah, Aspinall said it scared the living daylights out of him.
And me and Savata were sitting with him, and when he threw on that mask, we just started cracking up. It was good to see Gates in that lighthearted of a mood and kind of ready to perform, because that's always when he performs his best.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that. We all know there's this show going on, behind the scenes. That's, as fun and exciting and a lot more drama behind the scenes, behind that curtain. And they keep it down, but the same thing happens in all sports, NFL. I've been in the locker rooms in the NFL and in places like that where, there's a lot of security and there's a lot of no cameras. And what goes on there is maybe some of that'll be on the air, live all the time. And 20 years from now, things kind of stretch what we can watch, so it'll be great. I would love to be able to have the behind the scenes stuff when things calm down.
Mark in the chat brings up that, after the first round, Savata apparently was homeless. Like he had a flight out already.
Room. Yes.
Didn't have a hotel room.
That's right. Yeah, I think they even mentioned that. They mentioned that on the air too, I believe. I listened to that. They said, "Oh, that's interesting." Oh, you gotta have a little bit more.
Come on, brother. We
really.
all have,
confidence.
Have some faith. He's got a taxi waiting for him. Come on, brother.
Oh my God. Well, he's great.
Well, we know players do that. We know quite a few players who, on a CDC day have a 5 o'clock flight, and it's like,
Well, that was always Chuck Pulio would always have like a 5-6 p.m. flight, and I would always yell at him about it.
Yeah.
But his theory was always, if I have to cancel my flight, I'm doing well enough that I can afford to change my flight, so it's fine. If I can make the flight, I want to get the heck out of Dodge as quickly as humanly possible, so I'm glad I have that flight.
He did that with me on DPLAs, and when he was coming up to LA to do those things, he would have oh my God, I got to get out. And he would have a flight booked to where if he won the match, he could still maybe make his flight, but then he can't enjoy any of the extra stuff that we want to do after he won. So he is literally changing his clothes, and it's the second after he won it because there's an Uber on the way. Anyway, that's just him. That was just him.
Well,
we always like seeing him at the World Championship.
Savata's initial flight was for Wednesday, and he booked it before the schedule came out because he was like, what are the odds? More. There's so many days before Wednesday that I should be playing before then.
Right.
Nope.
That's right.
Nope. Wednesday it was.
What do you think, Anthony? You find any things like that going on? Or did you notice something different or no?
In what?
The guys, when the guys are out there and what they, little tidbits about what happens when people that do book themselves out earlier. Do you know any other good stories about that? I like those kind of.
No, you kind of knew that, I had some players in mind as well, and I wasn't going to throw them under the bus, but you apparently easily did, and that's fair.
That's true. Okay, good. I was just trying to get there.
So let's look here. Let's look at the. We're gonna cut this show in two. We've got the preview show, and then we'll get a board and we'll go here preview.
Well, I think
part
I'm
two.
gonna have to probably bug out of here real quick. Anyway.
Go ahead, just dump out. Come back in, do whatever you got to do.
Okay, you guys continue. I'll watch, and I'll just let me know. Just thanks for letting me jump in and getting a couple words in anyway. So you guys have a great time.
Anybody worldwide, message me. I'll give you an invite. Come on in. We'll go all night. Thanks, David.
That sounds great. How much money have you raised? Okay, good night, guys.
Oh, please. Peter Cetera's ears are tingling. Let's go. Fundraiser. Let's go.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
So fourth section quickly. It's MVG's the big seed. He's still alive, obviously. But Peter Wright, it just so difficult to see Peter in the form he's in, Yeah. Watching it with my girlfriend, and we're watching that game, and I'm like, if it was based on how people feel and what kind of a guy somebody is, we'd hand the championship to Peter. Couldn't be a nicer guy in the sport, and it's so difficult to watch him struggle with that, and he's out. But 14 and 19 are still alive. Oh, the bottom is a little wasteland for seeds. Noppert goes out to Justin Hood, which was a big upset.
I mean, Match of the tournament.
Richie Edhouse. Rock is still alive, but Gurney's out. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I mean, that Nopert Hood match, the back room came to a halt. Anyone practicing, stopped practicing. Anyone talking with their friends, stopped talking with their friends. Everyone was just glued in on that TV because that match was just, it had everything that you wanted. It had major checkouts, major scoring, back and forth battling. I mean, it was so awesome to watch. And I mean, when Justin Hood hit that winning dart, everyone in that back room started applauding.
Yeah, one of the great matches on that stage. You know, Justin Hood 3-2 over Noppert. Hood threw 103, Noppert threw 102, and it went as far as a match could possibly go with all of the drama along the way. And it's just a great example of what can happen in these matches, right, David? I mean, sometimes it's not even the hits, it's the misses when you get that crowd and it's like, oh, and the next guy has his darts down and he thinks he's out.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just, it was fantastic to watch and fantastic to see Justin Hood playing so well on that stage. He is just a genuine human being and super kind, super funny. When I went after the match to congratulate him and I was like, yo, you played incredible. And he looks at me and he goes, I know, I was there, with a big smile on his face, laughing.
I saw it from the best seat in the house.
Yep.
So let me drop this for a second and bring up the schedule again. Come on. Get down to the schedule. Come on. Where are you? How come I can't scroll back up? All right. I may not be able to get to the schedule. That is weird. I had the schedule. Didn't I put the schedule up earlier?
I thought so.
All right. I've got it on the side. I can't seem to get to the graphic, and I don't know why. Hold on. My apologies. So what we'll do is we'll jump back in and do a quick preview, and I will give you match times because I've got them here and I just can't. Yeah, I don't know where my.
We can just do it through Wikipedia.
Yeah, I will. No, I've got a bunch of graphics and I don't know where.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing this in real time. I don't know where my graphics went. I've got my video, but my graphics seem to have disappeared. Oh, you know what? I bet because I'm sharing the screen. So let me watch this. Huh, no. That didn't work. I don't know where my... All right. That's odd, and I apologize for that. I do have the graphic. The PDC has a schedule out for round 3 leading into round 4, and I can't seem to get to my piece. So what we will do is we will go back to the bracket, okay? So there's a bracket. So we'll quickly go through and I'll let you know when everybody's playing, I think. Yeah, let's go through and then you, David, you and I we will pick who will be playing for this group after New Year's, right? Who'll be in the quarters, okay? So Littler's playing Mansour, and that game will be the third match of the evening session this coming Saturday. Then you've got Hedda and Cross. They'll play in the afternoon session, second game on Sunday. Then you move down to Gilding and Woodhouse. Gilding and Woodhouse. They're going to open up tomorrow, the afternoon session, second game, right? So right out of the gate, and then you've got Plaisir and Ratajski, I should say. They're going to be the first one tomorrow as we get back in session. So Who do you think of the two players playing for this group on New Year's Day? Actually,
I foresee Littler, obviously, and probably Gilding. I see Gilding Plaisier being the match there, and Gilding, if he keeps playing the way that he is, he's going to sneak that one out.
You mean get to the quarters, or you think he
Yes.
can? You think he can threaten Littler?
I don't think Gilding can threaten Littler. I think the hardest match for Littler coming up is going to be versus either Hedda or Cross on who comes out of there. And I think Cross is the tougher matchup for Littler, even though Hedda might be the better informed player. Because Cross always plays Littler very, very well. He's not scared of him. He just goes up there and Cross does what he does.
Yeah, indeed. I think when this whole thing came out, a lot of us, myself included, saw a Littler Price matchup in the quarters. I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, I definitely think that Rob Cross could be a big speed bump in this whole thing. But I can't go against the grain. You gotta think Littler's going to be in there, and I will change things up a little bit. I'm going to say that Plaisier continues a really good form, and he is still alive as the calendar turns into 2026. So Littler Plaisier for me, and Littler Gilding for EG. All right, so let's go into the second part of our bracket. So you've got Bunting and Hurl. Let me get back to the Bunting and Hurl will be the second game tomorrow evening. So they will be the second match up before Littler. So, all right. Then Schindler and Searle. That will open up Sunday. So the afternoon session in London will open up with Schindler and Searle. And Clayton Zonnefeld. That is going to be a tasty contest. That's actually going to be tomorrow. That's going to close the afternoon session tomorrow, Saturday the 27th. So Clayton Zonneveld will get determined tomorrow afternoon. And then Harrison Pietretscu. Where are we? Oh, they are going to open up tomorrow night. That is a nice match to open up tomorrow night. Gives everybody plenty of time to do some return shopping on Saturday, but get in front of the TVs, get the popcorn made for Harrison Pietretscu. So, David, give me a rundown. Who's the two players coming out of this on January 1st?
I foresee Andreas Harrison making it out of the bottom. I think the long break for Johnny Clayton is going to hurt him a little bit.
Okay.
And he wasn't super sharp in his first round match, even though he picked up the W. I think Andreas right now is the best informed player in that little section. The top half, I think the winner of the Schindler-Searle match is going to be the one to move on. I foresee them knocking out Bunting. And I think it's going to be Ryan Searle. He's been playing very well, and he always has played well.
Okay, so no controversy for us this evening on that. I actually am going the exact same way. I'm high on Searle this year. I think this is his year to really go far, and I agree. I think Andreas Harrison is the hottest player in that bottom. Potentially, obviously, we've seen what Johnny Clayton has done and can do. But, if you followed Modus, you know how good Harrison can be. And I think he's taking full advantage of that opportunity. So me and Mr. Garfinkel on the same page. So let's head down to the very, very interesting third part of the bracket. Okay, opening up, the former world champion, Luke Humphreys, plays Gabriel Clemens. Okay, and they will be second up on Sunday evening. So second session on Sunday will feature Humphreys and Clemens. And give me a little tidbit about Clemens.
One of only 3 players that hasn't lost a set yet at this year's Worlds.
Bingo. So looking to take out a big seed is Clemens.
And the other 2 are Searle and Littler, who we've already penned in for top 8 already.
Yeah, right. What does not losing a set get you? Gets you in the quarterfinals. Aspinall and Dutes. Dutes, there it is. Monday afternoon session. They will close that session. So Aspinall, Dutes, December 29th afternoon session. Ricky Evans, Charlie Manby. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. You can
It's going to be
has
electric.
a great personality already, right? And Ricky is just going to bring it. Ricky sees major stars in his eyes and the potential here, and that is going to be same session there. Monday the 29th afternoon session, match 2 in London, and then we finish out the bracket. Jan van Veen against Matters Rasma, and that will open up Sunday evening's session. So Van Veen and Rasma will open up the session. Would you like to continue to go first, or would you like it over to me? You ready to go?
Doesn't matter.
Or is it unfair for me to put you on a hot seat?
I'm fine being on the hot seat.
Go ahead, brother. So you tell me, out of this talented group, an informed group, who's alive come January 1st?
I think Humphreys is by far the best player in that little top part. I think Aspinall Dutes is going to be a slugfest between the two of them. Dutes has been very, very timely. But I just think Humphreys has more firepower than both Aspinall or Dutes and comes away rather easily into the quarters. And the bottom half, I think the way Van Veen is playing right now, I mean, highest average right now in the tournament last round with his 108 against Suter. He just looks comfortable. I think I saw the stat. I think right now he is at 50% on the triple 20 or triple 19 with throwing darts at it. Wow. So 1 out of every 2 darts he throws at a triple 20 or triple 19 goes in, which is just sickening. So I think we're going to have a Van Veen Humphreys semifinal that's going to be a quarterfinal that's going to be really fun.
Just fire. Yeah. Again, not a lot of disagreement. No disagreement for this quad. Humphreys, Van Veen, similar to what I thought was going to happen with Littler and Price. You know, a big clash, even with all of the other potential big names, namely, you know, like a 7 seed in Wade and a 15 in Aspinall, you know, players who've won majors in their own right. Like, yeah, it feels like these two freight trains are gonna clash on New Year's Day. So Humphreys, Van Veen for both of us. So let's get down to our last little group. Okay, so starting at the top of quad 4, you've got Michael Van Gerwen, the 3-time former champion, taking it on Arno Merck of Germany. And that will be, I saw that a moment ago, they will close appropriately so Sunday night. So MVG gets some major primetime spotlight Sunday evening and closes against Merck. And then this is going to be a real good contest. And I will let it out. I mean, I am a massive Gary Anderson fan. So you've got Gary Anderson, the 14 versus Jermaine Watamina, the 19. Watamina in good form through a really good number in his match against Scott Williams. But the Flying Scotsman threw a 105 at Connor Scott, right? So,
yeah,
you know, I'm a bracketology guy. So you like to see when you get seeds through, you know, things are pretty close and you expect tight matches, and a 14-19, you know, is pretty darn close. So that really, really should be an amazing contest. And you'll see that. Where am I going to turn my phone off? Sunday in the afternoon session, former champion Gary Anderson gets put into the afternoon session once again. And I'll just leave that out there. But he's going to close. He's going to bring the curtain down this Sunday, the 28th.
I mean, for what it's worth, that entire afternoon session is electric. I mean, Schindler, Searle, head across, Anderson, Watamina should be 3 unbelievably tight matches and really, really exciting matches.
That's why we're going back to the beginning of the show, right? I mean, that's why I think this little group of days is just absolutely bonkers. So moving down is Justin Hood coming off of that amazing match, playing Ryan Meikle, and Meikle is having a really good stretch here, playing really solid, really, big moments for Ryan, and he's taking advantage of them. So Hood and Meikle will open up on Monday, the 29th, the afternoon session. All right. Then last one on the calendar is the 11 seed Josh Rock, another very highly touted player in this tournament, taking on Callan Rids. So you got Rock Rids, and they're going to open up the Monday afternoon session. So that's going to be your last game of the third round. So what the way the schedule goes is Saturday, Sunday in full is round 3. Monday afternoon is round 3. The evening will open up with the round 3 in Rock and Grids, and then it'll move into round 4. So the rest of Monday will be round 4, and then all of Tuesday will be
I'm
round
going to
4.
say it's safe to assume it's going to be the Plaisir, Ratowski, Gilding, Woodhouse, and the Clayton Zonnefield, Harrison, Piotreczko.
Carry those players over into that. So it's just, again, big fan of it. It's just these players that you see come off big performances and they're right back on stage. It is just salivating time. So let's go. You have had the honor of picking first each time. So let's go again, brother. You give me the 2 players that will be playing on January 1st, and we will go. Hold you to it. We will go to the tape on New Year's Day.
All right. I think we're going to see MVG come out of the top half. He played really well against Willie O'Connor. He seems to be finding his groove. I actually think Wadamina is going to upset Gary Anderson, just because we know how Gary gets against celebratory opponents. And Wadamina is one of those guys that likes to give it. So I think it's going to kind of get Gary a little bit off of his game after playing, Adam Hunt and Connor Scott, who both kind of just go with the flow and just do their business and don't really celebrate. Wadamina is someone that's going to celebrate the 180s, going to celebrate the set wins, and has been playing really, really well. The bottom half, I think it's going to be a huge firepower last 16 between Justin Hood and Josh Rock. I'm going to have to go with my boy Josh to come out of that one. He looks comfortable. He's playing well, and he's super confident. So I'm saying MVG Josh Rock.
MVG Josh Rock for David. Let's see, how differently can I do this? I'm certainly going to go different on the top. Obviously, I would give possibly one of my kidneys to see MVG Gary Anderson. I need that match. I don't want it. I need that match in round 4. I need it. And if, all is right with the world, I will get an MVG Gary Anderson matchup in round 4, probably, what do we say, Tuesday prime time. So let's come on. Let's go. I will be absolutely praying to see that match. And of course, if you do get that match, I'm gonna say that Ando is hot and he's into the quarters. So I'm actually gonna pick Gary Anderson to be still alive on January 1st. Now the bottom, I don't necessarily disagree. For some reason, I have just always loved Callan Ridd. So I really just would love to see him go on this run. I want to see Ernie McCracken alive on New Year's Day, and I would be in my glory. But I just don't think that's doable. I do agree that Rock is, another one of these players that it's sort of why not me? Why not now? And and it feels like it really could be his time. So I'm going to go with the Northern Irishman taking on the Scotsman down at the bottom. So Anderson, Rock for me. So I think only really maybe 2 picks there out of the 8 players in the quarters did me and Mr. Garfinkel diverge on.
Yep.
So let me get that off and bring David in. Thank you, brother. That was a lot of fun. What
Absolutely.
other sorts of, give us a few last thoughts, if you have any, on this tournament and what we may see in the next couple of days.
I think it's held true this year, Worlds, more than the same way it held true every single year. It's full of a lot of upsets, full of a lot of new cult heroes being born, and you never know what you're going to see. I mean, we could sit here and look at these matches and predict what's going to happen all we want according to paper, but I don't think anybody predicted Richie Edhouse losing to Johnny Tata.
Lots.
Richard Veenstra losing, or Dimitri Vandenberg, or I mean, the list goes on and on of all of these guys that, got bounced in the first round by people that it was unexpected, or bounced in the second round. So it's always just a very, very exciting tournament, and you never know what's going to happen, which is why they play the games.
Absolutely. Well, David, truly, thank you so very much. It's been great to finally have you on and get a chance to sit with you. Mainly kind of one-on-one. We had a little intrusion from Irene, but that was fantastic, right? But
absolutely. Irene is always welcome.
Always love to have you on, David, and we will
appreciate it. Happy to be here.
We will have you on as the calendar flips to 2026, and we bring you guys some more content from Shooting the Bull and the CDC and stuff. So, David, be well. I'm gonna dispatch you for a second, and then I'm gonna talk to the folks about a few things, and then we're gonna wrap this up. All right?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Ann.
All right, everybody, we want to just bring you up to speed on a few things. First off, that was a lot of fun. Thank you, David Garfinkel, for sitting in. Thank you for L. David Irene for coming on for a minute. But great insight there from David Garfinkel on his trip over, and then having some fun doing some predictions. I really would like to do this again sometime on New Year's Eve, right? So we can then look to see what has happened in rounds 3 and 4, and then take a look at the quarterfinals through the finals. So expect to see me pop up again. All right. So be on the lookout, social media, for that. And want to appreciate everybody being involved in there. So, you get in there, give us your picks on who you think is going to be still alive January 1st. Again, you can follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search @ChampDarts. Okay. One other thing I want to promo, if you want to stay in the know with the CDC, let me pull up our thing here. Stay in the know with the CDC. Sign up for the CDC newsletter to be the first to get the latest news, tips on improving your own dart game, special offers, discount, and insider info. So you can go to champdarts.info/in the know to sign up for the newsletter, or you can use the QR code in front of you. So that is a great way to keep up to date with everything CDC. All right. So thank you so very much for tuning in tonight. Tomorrow, things kick off 7:30 Eastern time in the United States and Canada. Okay. And you can find all of the games on PDC TV. If you don't have a subscription, I really highly recommend you do so, because during the year you get tons of great content, not only some great coverage of the CDC events, but you get all the Pro Tours, plus the majors if you're not in the UK. This year, the Worlds are being covered on Peacock. So if you have the Peacock app, I really ask you to go in there and put it in My Stuff and give it good ratings. So the folks at Peacock and NBC know that darts is something that people want to see. I've watched both of the first 2 rounds through Peacock. So tomorrow morning, the coffee pot will be going, and I'll have Peacock up on the big screen, loud and clear, as we kick off phase 2 of the PDC World Championship. All right. I think with that, no more further ado, let's get to everything. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks to take a preview. And then we've got more content on the way for 2026, kicking off with a chat with the director and writer of the Bulls, the movie, I should say, Dan Myers. We're lining that up as we speak. And then, of course, we'll have news and info on the 2026 Championship Dart Circuit and everything else related to it. All right, folks? So with that, have a good night.
Thanks for joining us for Shootin' the Bull, the official podcast of the Championship Dart Circuit. Subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode, and follow us at Champ Darts on social media to keep up with all of the latest news on North American darts.